Hey, Lizards, Gizmo here. I wanted to share some of the cigars we'll be smoking in June and July, so you can smoke along with us if you'd like. For Cubans, we've got Partagas Series P No. 2, Vegas Robania Unicos, San Cristobal de la Habana La Punta, and Por Laranaga Petite Corona. And for New Worlds, we've got Aging Room Quattro in Robusto, Oliva V in Churchill, and Davidoff Millennium in Pyramid. We also have a 2-part deep dive on artisan tequila coming up over the next several weeks, with much, much more to come. Have a suggestion? Email us, loungelizardspod@gmail.com. That's loungelizardspod@gmail.com. And now, let's get into the episode. Welcome to the Lounge Lizards podcast. So good to have you here. It's a leisure and lifestyle podcast founded on our love of premium cigars, as well as whiskey, travel, food, work, and whatever else we feel like getting into. My name is Gizmo, and tonight I'm joined by Rooster, Grinder, Senator, Pagoda, and Bam Bam. And our plan is to smoke a cigar, drink some whiskey, talk about life, and of course, have some laughs. So take this as your 33rd official invitation to join us and become a card-carrying lounge lizard. Plan to meet us here once a week. We're going to smoke a New World cigar tonight, share our thoughts on it, and give you our formal lizard rating. We discuss one of Bam's all-time favorite cigars, Davidoff special releases, and our growing lizard palates, all among a variety of other things for the next hour. So sit back, get your favorite drink, light up a cigar, and enjoy as we pair Hibiki Japanese Harmony Whiskey with Davidoff Millennium in Pyramid. We're back to Davidoff once again, boys. The Millennium in Pyramid, continuing with our series of Lizard's favorite cigars. This is Bam Bam's favorite.
Indeed it is.
Number one.
Yes, sir.
What about this cigar makes it number one for you?
Well, it's the very first cigar I've ever had.
Ever?
Ever.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. 15.
You spoiled bastard.
Yeah,
I know.
geez.
I know.
So you came into cigar smoking at a later age.
16 years ago.
Wow.
Just under 16 years. You guys, I think all of you have been smoking longer than me.
So like when you were 40?
Yeah, when my son was actually when my son the day my son was born, my brother-in-law got me into cigars.
Oh, you know what? I still need to do a cigar share. for
Yeah,
my
yes you
recent birth.
do.
Yes.
We're waiting.
We've been waiting. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was quite the experience for me. I fell in love with cigars that day.
Really?
And he gave us Liga 9s and Millenniums.
And this.
And he loved Millenniums at the time. Now he's off those. He's like a big Liga 9 guy now. But I've never stopped smoking these.
I see you with this cigar, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 times a week?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
You smoke a lot of these.
Yep. Now, honestly, with the whole Cuban run that we've all been having, I've fallen off the Millennium path for
Sure.
a while. But when I go back to it, it's a comforting friend.
Well, I'll tell you, this is one of those cigars
There's
that
no doubt.
it fits, for me, it fits anywhere,
Yeah.
you know, in the week, in the day.
Yep.
After a steak, in a range of 3, 4, 5 cigars, if we decide to do that any night,
Yeah.
it's always satisfying. It's always good. So
What I happen to admire about this is the construction. I mean, it's from the point of view of flavor profile. I'm not going to say it's the most memorable cigar from the point of view of the flavor. I get coffee and tobacco and cedar in this, and that's it for me. And I love that. But it's so beautifully made. It's sharp enough to throw in a tack board right now.
it is. Look at the
The
tips.
wrapper is beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's, I think, one of the best made cigars that you can find. My
That's,
opinion.
that's a quote sharp enough to throw in
I
the
did
tech.
not know this. There's a Lancero in Millennium.
What?
What?
I
I never
have-
heard of that.
I have never seen that.
Me neither.
We got to
Wow.
get that.
Yeah,
I
we
thought
have
there-
to get
wait,
that.
so I thought there were only 4. I thought there was a short Robusto,
Yep.
a Robusto, the
And this.
Toro, and the Pyramid.
Right.
It's a Petite Corona.
And the Petite Corona.
It's
excuse me.
five.
It's apparently a Lancero.
I had no
Dude.
idea. We got to get that.
That is a must.
Yeah, we got to get that.
There's a smaller one than that too.
The Petite
I think-
Corona.
No, I think there's smaller than a Petite Corona.
Have to look.
No.
But to your
don't
point,
think
Bam,
so.
I mean, the construction on this, the wrapper, I
Yeah.
mean, it's just a brilliant looking cigar.
And honestly, when we recommended to do the smoke, I, for some reason, thought we've already recorded it long ago.
Yeah, well, you know, we did a couple Davidoffs so far. So this is actually our 4th Davidoff. We've done this Marca more than any other.
That's true.
We've done the Chef's Edition,
Dominicana.
Dominicana,
Which
we
I
did
loved.
the late hour Churchill a few weeks ago.
Yep.
And now this.
Yes, sir.
You know, and we probably wouldn't have done this so soon.
Yep.
Had we not had it on the list, you know, trying
Yep.
to go through the Lizard's favorite cigars.
And
So
honestly, it warms my heart that a lot of guys in this room like this cigar.
it's probably my favorite regular daily driver Davidoff.
That's awesome.
You know,
Awesome.
I think you're on point with that. So
Very happy.
All right, let's cut this thing, boys. See what we're getting on the cold draw. Oh, the draw is wide open, and I didn't take too much off the top. I mean, any cut I make on these, it's always perfect draw.
Pleasantly surprised.
So
Yeah.
that's a new experience for you.
I mean, that's one thing about Davidoffs. The construction is impeccable.
It really is.
Have you ever had a plugged
Davidoff?
Davidoff? I've never.
I don't think ever.
Yeah.
Maybe
No, but-
a Millennium Toro.
Well, that's the thing. I was
the
gonna
draw
say,
would be
the-
It's
tight.
rare.
The Vitola matters with Davidoff.
kinda
I think
does.
we've talked about this 1,000 times.
Yeah.
The
Toros.
Toros,
They
for
don't like
whatever
the Toro.
reason, they
So-
don't burn well. The draw's not the same. The most consistent are, I think, the torpedo that we have or the pyramid we have here.
The Robustos
and
are pretty
the
good.
Robustos are great.
The
and
Churchills.
the Churchills are awesome.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm glad he brought that up because, a listener will look in the cigar shop and find a Millennium Toro and assume it's what we're smoking tonight, not realizing that it's a completely different cigar,
And experience.
several steps below in performance and taste, and even appearance in the compared to the pyramid.
Yeah.
Whatever this ends up at tonight on the Formal Lizard rating,
Yeah,
take about 4 basis points off of what the Toro experience would be.
Oh, yeah.
in my opinion.
100%.
That's what I was just going to say. I can't emphasize enough to anyone who listens to this and decides they want to pick up this stick. It has to be in the pyramid. And I say that because Bam would talk about this cigar a lot. And I had never had the pyramid. I had only tried the Toro. And I really disliked the Toro. And I could not understand why people were so enamored with this Millennium series. And Bam had finally gotten me to try the pyramid. And
I think it was here.
I think it was at our former
Oh, is that
lounge.
right? Okay.
Yeah. And all it took was one of those to
Yeah.
completely change my perspective on this cigar. So the
So true.
Vitola, the shape
Matters.
makes a world of difference.
So true.
So what are you guys getting on the cold draw? I'm getting leather, caramel, little chocolate, and there's some like dry fruit maybe.
Yeah, like coffee, chocolate.
Getting
I get a very light espresso, cedar, and tobacco.
Espresso,
a lot
I'm
of-
getting that.
a
Yeah,
lot of cedar.
cedar, tobacco, and coffee.
I'm getting the same notes, Bam, is just smell the wrapper though, please. Like it's amazing. I just get
smells amazing.
chocolate and like coffee.
It's ridiculous.
All right, boys, let's light this thing. The Davidoff Millennium in Pyramid. It's a 52 ring gauge by 6 1/8.
So I need to borrow later when someone's done.
Oh, jeez.
So I'm going to admit something.
Uh-oh.
I had my beautiful DuPont lighter. I gifted to someone.
I heard about this.
Yeah,
You gifted it to someone?
someone I like a lot, and
Someone we know.
Really?
yeah, he commented how much he liked it. Really beautiful. It looks great. Feels good in the hand. Perfect razor sharp burn. And I just looked at him and said, "It's yours."
Bam, have I told you how
No.
beautiful your humidor looks great?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
nothing
great.
like your tower.
I mean, man, I could.
Thank you.
If you would be so generous to just give me that humidor.
Let's smoke this thing.
Delicious, right on the light, guys.
Yeah.
Wonderful. You know, we talk about elegance sometimes in cigars. I think the last time we talked about it was the late hour Churchill that we did. And this is a cigar I feel very similar. It's not as it's obviously not as long as a Churchill, but there's something about this that's significant.
For me, it's the appearance of it. It's got this kind of old school, stately look to it. And the flavor is reminiscent of that. It's not, like I said, it's not the most memorable flavor profile, but it's a good cigar. It's a beautiful cigar. I just gravitate toward it, you know. Now, someone said that they can wear a pinstripe suit and smoke the late hour Churchill.
Puba said that, yeah.
I could do that with the cigar.
I agree. I mean,
Yeah, it's
this
that
is right
kind of-
in this is right in line with that.
Yeah, yeah. Sophisticated old school cigar, I think.
Yeah. And it's delicious right on the light.
Yeah.
What are you guys getting?
Getting glory. This is great.
Yeah.
A lot of
It's-
coffee, a lot of chocolate.
Yeah,
chocolate
a lot of
notes,
chocolate.
right?
Coffee, chocolate,
dark
and cedar.
chocolate, cedar.
Yeah.
Right there with you.
Getting some raisin.
I'm definitely getting some dried fruit.
Maybe the
Yeah.
raisin.
Absolutely some
Okay.
dried fruit.
And the draw is wide open.
And I think this cigar, we talk about several act plays in cigar. I think this cigar really is one that takes you on a little bit of a journey.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that it changes necessarily, but it really kind of builds and it's complex and it burns perfectly and slowly every time. Like it's a wonderful hour,
Yeah.
hour 15.
Yep.
However long you take to smoke it. It's a really nice journey
Yep.
with a cigar.
When you read up on this, they say it's a maybe I'm wrong, medium to full experience.
I agree.
For me though, it's a perfect medium experience. That's where I'm at with it.
I agree.
Right in the middle.
Yeah, I think it toward the end.
Oh yeah.
Once it heats up, I think you're starting to get towards full. But I would say overall, it's a medium cigar.
Sure.
So the wrapper on this, by the way, is Ecuador, Connecticut, and the binder and the filler are both from Davidoff in the Dominican.
Okay.
I was just gonna say the wrapper is beautiful.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure. So it is the Ecuadorian wrapper.
Nice.
Ecuadorian, Connecticut, which is interesting.
Yeah. Also, this is not one of the more affordable cigars.
Yeah. So where does this price?
You said this is?
It's not.
No, it is
It's
not.
an expensive cigar. They average, I guess, $27 to $29, depending on where you find it. That is not cheap.
Which is interesting. Again, comparing back to Davidoff, that this is a more expensive cigar.
And for the size of it, you would expect to get more for the price, but because of the quality and how it's made,
And I
for
got
me,
to
it's
imagine
worth-
this is hard to roll.
I would have no idea.
I mean, it's a pyramid, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Like a P2.
If Partagas can roll a P2 and Upman can roll a number 2 and Bolivar can roll a Bellicosos Finos and charge like 13, 14, 15 a stick. The one criticism that frustrates me with this stick, the price point is it's aggressive for
It is.
what is just a pyramid,
Well, it's more
Yeah.
expensive than the Churchills.
right?
Not the limiteds like the chefs, but
Yeah,
it's certainly more expensive than the late hour Churchill.
sure.
But it's
sure.
typical of Davidoff's, right? I mean,
Right?
Davidoff's are always they just priced a bit higher than most non-Cubans.
Yeah, certainly.
What's the aging on these? Do we know?
Good question.
I don't think they announced that. I would imagine at least it's a couple years, but there's no
Yeah.
information.
Well, the
that's
tobacco is
explicit.
aged, definitely.
I think 4 years.
4 or
I
5
was reading
years.
somewhere. I think when it came out in 2005 or something, I was reading one of the articles and it kind of mentioned around 4 years for the Millennium blend, which I'm assuming would be the same for this.
So on Davidoff's website, the cigar is $30. They also have a pack of 4, which is a little under 120, and then the pack of 10 on their site is a little under 300.
So that's an increase in price because at our former lounge,
yeah,
I repeatedly brought these at around $27.
yeah, and you can find them online.
Mm-hmm.
You can find deals here and there.
That's true. That's true.
Especially out of the country deals.
Yeah.
We find those all the time. So it's just a matter of if you like the cigar, you're interested in the cigar, you want to stock up, just find a nice deal on it. And
Yeah.
but they're hard to get right now. They're not everywhere.
I like a lot of good cigars are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really, really delicious, though,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, I think the thing that stands out beyond obviously a lot of flavor notes that we like in this cigar, going back to something Ben was saying earlier, I think this is one of the best constructed cigars, period. Cuban, New World, doesn't matter. The number of photos that I have on my phone smoking this cigar with an ash that is easily over 2 inches in length, it's just absurd.
Oh, yeah.
Every time it burns evenly, the ash is white and bright, and
Yeah.
you
So-
don't have any issues with
So how
construction.
is a long ash or a sturdy ash indicative of good construction?
Well, you'd have to think it's the packing and the roll. If it's densely done and it's evenly distributed, there's a structure there.
100%.
And
I
it-
think. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no. And as it burns, you've got the tobacco oxidates as it burns, and it creates the air pockets that are there. It depends. It's all depending on the roll and the packing. If it's consistent, and you get a great ash, there's a structure.
So I agree with
Yeah.
Bam. I mean that's also my take, and I think you think about right, like really, 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 really cheap yard cigars are like short filler, tobacco inside, and the ash is just crumbling because the leaves, right, they're short filler, so it's just crumbling off. When you have a long filler cigar with those longer leaves that are properly wrapped, it should burn evenly and hold for a good amount of time. And so I do look for in a cigar when that ash holds and is not all over my pants as I'm smoking it, I know that's a really well constructed
Yeah,
cigar.
it's a mark of quality.
And we smoke only long filler cigars.
Right.
Exactly.
So I would say, it's a check. It's a checking of the box. If you have a good ash that's sturdy, it's indicative of good construction and long filler, which is mostly what we all smoke anyway.
Exactly. And it speaks to the robustness of the leaf, the fact that they are rolling with really high quality leaves. Like when you buy a $30 cigar, if it's ashing all over your pants, I mean, it's very frustrating to me.
Yep.
Now, I expect that with an $8 cigar or $6 cigar, but when you're spending $30 on a cigar and it's ashing without your, intervention, that's really, really frustrating to me.
Happens to the best of us, though.
It does. And it's a matter of maybe the cigars weren't kept well, they're too dry, they're too wet. But if you're in the sweet spot and you're spending that kind of money, it should be holding up,
I agree.
at least for an inch or two.
One of the funny things about these cigars, growing up in a certain age group where we are, some of us in this room are millennials. There was a time, still is a time, where a lot of people are referring to these cigars as millennials as opposed to millennials.
Oh boy.
Let's be clear. There are even lizards who have referred to this as
there are a couple
Oh,
lizards.
Excuse me.
Let me go smoke some millennial pyramids.
We still love you, Puba.
I am happy to say that he does like this cigar.
Loves
does.
the cigar.
He does like the cigar.
He loves the millennial.
Yeah.
The Millennial Pyramid. No, this is great. So, you're already half an inch in. The ash is bright white. As they say, I don't love the term, but stacking dimes. Like you can see what looks like a stack of dimes in your ash. It's really, really fantastic.
So
Stacking
I
sometimes.
remember the first time my wife actually gave me the Millennium. We were at the Mohawk Mountain House. There's a couple of series that we have watched that have shown the Mohawk Mountain House. We were there for like a weekend. It was our anniversary. So my wife presented me with I think it was a 4-pack or a 5-pack of Millennium assorted sizes. They had just come out, and I had not tried one. And I had it there, and I was blown away. I'm like, this is the first Davidoff that's full flavored.
That is quite the gift.
Compared to like the Grand Cruz or
I have a question.
2000 series.
How did she know to get that gift for you?
She
Do you talk about cigars with your with Mrs. Rooster and have
I
discussions?
think she just went to
Does she
a
know
f-
what your favorite sticks are?
I think she had some help
Ah,
from our
okay.
former lounge. She
Okay.
went there and acquired those steaks.
Because I'm not sure Mrs. Bam Bam would ever buy me a cigar.
Well, if she goes to the former lounge, I'm sure they'll tell her like,
Yeah.
this is what he
Sure,
smokes, and
sure.
yeah.
That's kind of cool.
But
Oh,
what a cigar! I mean, I was blown away by it. Every single steak, and for me, one of my favorite sticks was the Petite Corona because I got so much flavor out of the wrapper, and a short steak with so much flavor. I was absolutely blown away.
I agree on the Petite Corona. The only reason
Mhm.
and I've had several of them, the only reason I won't buy that steak
Yeah, it's the price.
is the
It's
price
the
out of
price point,
principle.
I know.
How much?
Yeah.
How
It's
much?
like $16 for a little Petite Corona, and it's
Yeah.
it's
Half
not,
hour
it's
smoke.
It's shorter than even a normal Petite Corona. It's a small cigar.
I'm ashamed to admit that I haven't had that cigar. I would like to try it,
Well,
You should.
just from the
are
point
you
of view of getting
ashamed
that
now?
flavor. Yeah.
$16 for a petite
It used to
Corona?
I'm in.
it used to be 13, like 12, $13. But like anything else, it's gone up.
So you mentioned the Grand Cru, Rooster. You love that cigar.
I used to. I mean, I used to smoke a lot of Grand Cru number 2.
You still smoke that, I feel like.
I do, yeah. Once in a while, yeah.
So how does that compare to this Davidoff and the others that we've smoked? Like, where would you kind of put it price wise? Like, where does it land in the Davidoff line?
Well, the Grand Cru, depending on the size, it that's what differs in price. But the Grand Cru itself, it's a light to medium bodied cigar. To me, it's more of a daytime cigar.
Okay.
Great afternoon or morning with a cup of coffee and stuff. But this Millennium, I think, it can easily fit in like after dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's full. It's medium to full.
Yeah, I think it's most appropriate in the evening for me.
But what I love about this cigar, as much flavor as it puts out, the delivery is so smooth that I've lit this in the afternoon and still enjoyed it
Yeah.
just as much as at night. So I love the versatility about this cigar in particular.
And
Yeah.
I think that's why I consider this to be a medium-bodied cigar rather than medium full because it's so smooth.
Yeah, but I'm just comparing it to like the Grand Cru line.
Oh yeah, okay.
There's, Davidoff came out with these later. They were not into, when they came out with the Nicaraguan was after this, like the Yamasa and the Puro Nicaraguan stick that they came out with.
I like the Yamaso when it first came out.
Yeah, I
That
do.
was good.
I do too.
Yeah.
once
Haven't
in a
had
while.
it in years.
But I think Millennium is
Oh,
the best
Absolutely.
that the Davidoff makes, other than their limited edition series like the Chef's Edition and the
The Chef's Edition.
Dominicana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dominicana is so delicious, man.
I love the
Yeah.
Dominicana.
Oh gosh. So I had the Brooklyn
Pizza?
Brooklyn Edition Millennium. I'm sorry, Brooklyn Edition Davidoff a few weeks ago. It's a Toro. I sent you guys photographs of it. It was a while ago. Very good.
It's good.
Yeah. Surprisingly good performance.
The Manhattan edition was not very good.
I heard.
The 515 Madison.
Oh, that was
That wasn't good.
awful.
That was really a
That
bad
was-
cigar.
Yeah.
It was really a bad cigar.
and expensive.
Yeah.
More than this.
It's like $45 I
Oh,
paid for
dude,
that
that's
stick.
ridiculous.
I had that on my birthday like 2 or 3 years ago
Yeah.
after a steak. And I was sitting there saying, this is the most disappointing thing. And thank God I had brought some Padrones with me just to have after that. And I just ditched it and just lit up a Padrone. And I was back on cloud nine.
Now you had the Tiger,
I did.
right?
Yeah.
How was
I haven't
that?
had that.
So again, this goes to why like there are some Davidoffs I really like what we're smoking right now, the late hour, etc. Chefs. But I don't love the marketing gimmickry that goes on with these Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year cigars that they put out every year. I had the Year of the Tiger. The wrapper literally looks like it has tiger stripes on it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
The price point is outrageous. I paid, I think, $52 a stick for that.
Wow.
Wow.
And
Wow.
That's as much, by the way, as the Padron 50th.
Right,
Yeah.
which is a much
Which
bigger
is-
stick.
I mean,
Yeah,
World
that's
class
a
that's
short-
cigar.
like the
Yeah.
that's Ferrari of cigars.
Absolutely.
And it's a big stick. Like you're
Yes.
actually getting a lot of cigar for
To me.
that
6.5
price.
inches or something.
Right.
Yep, yep.
Where this Year of the Tiger, it's actually shorter
Then the Millennium.
than this Millennium Pyramid, even though it's a pyramid shape.
Mhm.
But it's shorter than this. And man, it honestly, if it were half the price, if that were $25, I wouldn't buy it
Probably.
again, let alone 50 something bucks. I just couldn't believe it. Was very disappointing. I should just qualify in saying not a bad cigar in that it was offensive, but nothing that at all excited me to want to smoke one of those
No,
again.
I mean, not worth the price that
Right.
you paid.
Well, boys, let's try our beverage. I'm ready for a sip here.
I got to tell you, I love this beverage. It's fantastic.
Hibiki Japanese whiskey.
Yeah.
So it's a blend, right, Pagoda? You said it's a blend.
Yeah, it seems to be a blend of quite a few different whiskeys. I think up to 10 is what I was reading, and I'm not sure whether that's right or wrong. But that article talks about how it's blended in around 5 different types of barrels as well.
Wow.
So it is reasonably complex. So
I've got to say, it's awesome.
It's really good.
I love it. Love
And
it.
we did the Suntory a couple of weeks ago, and that is, to me, it was lighter, it was sweeter. This is closer to, and thankfully with the cigar we're smoking, it's a little bit more. What is the word? A little more robust or
It's more complex.
more complex.
Yeah, and it has more structure. Like there's some viscosity to this. Like
Absolutely.
literally, you can taste just as you're sipping it. If you even look in the glass, there's much more viscosity in
Yeah.
this than that lighter
Yep.
Suntory that we had.
100%. 100%.
And this is really good. So how much is a bottle of Hibiki?
it's around. I think I paid $90. It used to be $80, but
That's expensive.
the issue with this is that they're never really available.
Yeah, they're hard to
It
find.
seems like they come, once in a while, and they tend to sell off so quickly that if you're not there on the day and get lucky, it's kind of gone.
Yeah, I think this is a really nice pairing with the cigar.
I think so too.
The thing that just really blows me away about this Japanese whiskey, really all the Japanese whiskeys I've tried have been very light.
Yeah.
Very light, very floral. And that has a time and a place. I mean, I was just saying, I had a little, before we recorded, I think a few of us tapped into some Suntory that we had left. And on a hot day, I would absolutely drink that. It's really nice, light, floral. This I would call kind of the Macallan of Japanese whiskeys in that it has a richer, deeper flavor that we're used to in, single malt scotches that we really like.
I like the comparison.
I'm
I really
impressed.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a good comparison.
What's interesting, there is a hint of sweetness on this, on the
It
front.
is.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
There is one. Yeah.
And, I never really thought of the Millennium as having any type of sweetness, but the raisin profile that Grinder brought up, I am getting that. As I think about it and as I taste it, it really pairs beautifully with this. Cuts right to it.
I'm going to say something you guys might find silly, but after I sipped the Hibiki and I took a draw of the cigar, it kind of gave me a little something different on the cigar, the smoke. It was almost like a saltiness or something.
Thank you. I was feeling the exact same thing.
Like-
There's a great compliment there.
It really does complement it, and
Yeah.
it kind of opens up another, lane of flavor. And there's a little saltiness or something in the smoke there, and it's really, really nice on the front of your tongue.
And I get it.
You're right. I'm getting the same thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of barrels these are made in? Pagodes?
I think, yeah, I haven't really read in detail, but it seems like it goes through 5 different,
Various oak.
various,
Are you
barrels,
guys
including
getting
the
oak?
American oak.
There's got to be some sherry there.
I
For
don't
the,
know.
The bit of sherry
that
for sure.
sweetness?
I don't get any.
no? You don't
I get a
any
little
sweet-
bit of
Oh,
sweetness.
I think there could be some sherry.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of sherry. I
No
think.
color, but on the flavor.
It's partly matured for sure in plum liqueur barrels. I'm seeing that.
Oh, that
I don't
works.
see. I don't taste sherry.
Well, the sweetness must be coming from that
Yeah,
barrel.
the plum
Oh.
barrels. Yeah, that would give the sweetness.
That almost makes this a much sexier scotch, knowing that.
Honestly, anything the Japanese do is fantastic, in my
true.
opinion.
Yep. That's true.
I think the water out there, right?
they
You
made
would
it-
imagine.
Yeah.
Well, now that they had the Chernobyl of their lifetime, what's the water like out there now?
Oh, Jesus.
What's
Questionable.
Just took a dark turn.
I did.
Are we all radiating?
What are you talking about?
We glow in the dark.
Wasn't there a nuclear meltdown?
Yeah,
There
Fukuoka.
was.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That was how many years ago, though?
3, not
5?
long. 4.
Yeah,
Maybe.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is
Pre-COVID.
really interesting.
Fukushima.
So I'm reading about just some of the stuff that's blended in here, and it says malt whiskey aged in American white oak,
I could definitely taste that.
cheetah grain whiskey. The company calls it the dashi or broth, designed to bring everything together. Sherry cask malt whiskey, working as a dressing or highlight. This is somewhat older whiskey that is the only dark amber component of the main 5 and provides personality, flavor, and top notes of dried fruit, cigar, plum, and wood. Mizunara cask malt whiskey, another dressing component, one of the oldest whiskeys in the blend, aged 12 to 15 years in Japanese Mizunara casks and provide a Japanese character to the whiskey. And lastly, smoky malt whiskey, just a hint of Isla-style smoky whiskey is included to add complexity and depth.
That's wonderful.
It's very interesting.
Wonderful.
See, the the thing that fascinates me about this podcast and us smoking cigars and pairing whiskeys and stuff, we go through this exercise of describing flavors, and it can get really ethereal. Like we're talking about personality. You said it adds personality. Like what the fuck? There's no personality. I love this. I love how we like. I mean, petrichor, right? Like we grab certain
This
It's
guy right
catching
here.
on worldwide.
certain
Catching
Do you
on
know how
worldwide.
many- do you know how many people have emailed or messaged us and have mentioned the word petrichor?
From around the
Already.
world.
I mean, it's got to be at least seven or 8.
That's funny.
Guy in Australia, another guy the other day. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Grinder has entered the lexicon.
Yes,
We,
he
we
has.
started by democratizing caviar. Now we're democratizing petrichor.
petrichor all day, day. I'm not getting any petrichor in this though.
No petrichor in this.
I'm so happy to hear that.
So going into the second third here, this cigar kind of right here is where it really hits its stride for me, and it
same.
always keeps going. Like right
Same.
around this 1.5 inch mark in ash. I
I
mean,
do-
it's just delicious.
Yeah,
man.
there's a consistency in the flavor notes that continues all the way through.
There is, to Gizmo's point, though, this is where in the cigar, maybe a quarter or a third of the way through, where the coffee notes pick up for me. It's almost as if like a pot of coffee's been brewing. Like when you light it, it's just slowly brewing. And then all of a sudden you've got that, like it's really pronounced at this point in the cigar.
and I think
that was a great analogy. I love that.
it was, and I think that's a compliment to the blending and the master blender, who puts the cigar together every year or every crop, that they harvest, in really making it an experience from start to end.
So it would be interesting because the master blender at Davidoff is no longer there,
Yeah, he left.
right?
Henke.
Henrik
Yeah.
Henke.
Yeah,
So did his son.
yep.
When did he
So-
leave?
I think
I
2
don't
years
know, I
ago,
think 2 years.
somewhere
Yeah.
during COVID, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Right before COVID.
Who is it? Who is it now?
What he joined?
I don't know. I don't know if they've announced what he's
really?
doing, or he just may have retired.
I think
he
he's
was
done.
a little
I think
older.
he's- Yeah.
Be
Older
curious
gentleman.
to
You think Rocky Patel?
Yeah,
I'm just
Rocky
kidding.
might be the guy.
What a disaster that would be.
No, please.
I'm dead serious. I'm like,
what are we talking
That
about?
that would be the end of Davidoff.
fucking end of days. Armageddon.
Be a Patel Davidoff.
I
collab.
think I might have met the blender and his son because I went to one of these Davidoff events in the city, and it was a really interesting event where they gave us somewhat like a semi-rolled cigar, and then we were actually putting the final wrapper on it. So we were wrapping the cigar, and then we were smoking it, and they gave us a couple of extra.
Are you sure
cigars
that
with it.
wasn't Hamlet?
What?
Oh boy,
'Cause
don't
we
mention
were-
that cigar. That
Because
is
we had the guy from Hamlet Cigars come to our former lounge.
Yeah,
He literally gave us leaves.
yeah,
And he said, roll them and smoke them.
correct. And he was with his son, and his son speaks really well.
Well, no, this wasn't Davidoff.
Oh,
This
no,
was a
no.
different, totally different
You
company.
just took a dark turn.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally the worst cigar
Oh, really?
I've ever had.
Yeah, but like for us, I think we were just enjoying the moment and the time, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So we're not going to review Hamlet on the pod.
Oh boy, yeah, for gardening, you can
know,
use it as fertilizer.
Is
I
that
will,
a-
I
is
will
that a
smoke a
cigar?
Rocky Patel before I smoke a
I
Hamlet.
think
Wow.
you're right.
That's-
You?
Wow.
Technically, that is a Rocky
that
Patel.
bad.
No
Wow.
doubt.
Technically,
was
that
awful.
is a Rocky Patel.
What? A Hamlet?
Hamlet.
Really?
It's a Rocky brand.
I think you're right.
I take that back. I will not be smoking either of those.
Please.
So I got to say, I've been, talking about messages that we've been getting from listeners, which, by the way, is awesome to hear from everybody. And, we're getting a lot of good recommendations of stuff to try upcoming, as both in spirits and cigars. We've added a lot of stuff to the list. So if you do have a recommendation or you have some feedback, please email us.
It's extremely
or
helpful.
messages. It is
extremely helpful.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
But I've noticed I'm getting a lot of messages from folks who are picking up Don Julio Añejo because of the pod. Like kind of in a lot of ways that we had this kind of revelation with tequila, pairing it with cigars. Certainly I have. I mean,
I was just gonna say, we've all been drinking tequila for
A
years.
lot. I haven't.
Oh, you haven't either.
yeah,
I have not,
Bam,
no.
Bam and I are.
A lot of us haven't.
Yeah.
And Senator made a great point at our new club. How long ago could we have looked back and think to ourselves, when would we ever have a tequila and a cigar together?
Yeah,
Right?
100%.
Yeah. And it's a fabulous pairing.
It's a great pairing, and it's awesome to see the listeners, trying this stuff out and then messaging that they're pairing it with an exclusivo or another cigar
Yeah.
that they're trying. It's really great to see.
Have we gotten any trolls?
Well,
through
Dunk,
the
I'll
interwebs?
send it over.
No
Yeah.
trolls yet.
No trolls.
No
Oh.
trolls.
Shit.
I can come up with a short list of trollers.
I love a good troll.
Yeah, so we had a guy message us on Instagram, a guy named Paul. He was smoking an EP Carrillo La Historia El Senador, which, by the way, side note, Senator and I had. He was very kind and brought another one because I mentioned to him, I was like, dude, I want to try that cigar again. Like, were we crazy on the pod, or was it really that good for $7.58? And he brought one to the clubhouse the other day, and he and I had it together. And oh my God, it was phenomenal. And he said something that was shocking to me.
And I'm going to say it again.
Shocking to me. Here we go.
I said, honestly, you know how much I love Padron. If I took the bands off of that cigar and gave them to everyone in this room, and I said, guess what cigar it is? It's the closest thing I've ever had to a Padron.
Really?
Wow.
Gizmo agreed 100% with what I
100%.
said.
Wow. That's interesting.
It was great.
And we enjoyed it so much, I ordered the last 2 boxes on Atlantic, and Giz and I each got another box.
That's very cool.
Is that the third? When did that one come out? So he had the 3, right?
Yeah.
I think that was the first one.
And then
It
the
was.
encore, and then
Then
what
the
was
encore,
the third
then
one?
the
Pledge.
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 Yeah,
Pledge.
Pledge.
Even the Monte Cristo, the 35, I think, which we reviewed here,
Yeah.
was very similar to the Padron as well.
It was,
Right?
but that was a terrible imitation of a Padron.
Yeah.
And it kind of fizzled out at the end.
You could say that about the aging room cigars. They're trying to be a Padron. We've discussed that a few times in the past. You end up with a cigar that doesn't have that quality of a Padron. You you pick it up right away. I love that El Senador.
So, so Paul was saying, going back to the listener, the gentleman Viking, who messaged us on Instagram. He was having a Guinness with the El Senador, and he was saying that he loves the Padron 3000 Maduro. And we did that episode about the Padron 2000. Now, the 3000 to me, I don't love. I've had that, and the 4000, I don't love those. The 2000, I really like, but the 3000, guys love those cigars, man.
Yeah, I don't mind the 4000. Yeah,
You like that cigar?
yeah. You remember I used to have it.
Is that the one you gave me? That I
Yeah,
couldn't
the
smoke?
first time around.
Yeah.
I had to ditch it.
I've never heard of these.
It was ditched.
It's the Padron line. It's like their
It's a
lower
thousand
line.
series.
Yeah,
Thousand
The
series.
series.
small brown label. It looks like a Monte
I know.
Cristo.
Yeah, I didn't know there was 3, 4, 5, whatever. I thought it was just one.
No, they're just the Vitolas, the number.
Oh,
Yep.
I think it might have to do with the place.
The smaller the number, the smaller the Vitola.
Okay.
Vitola.
It might have to do with the place because at that particular place, the steakhouse where we went to smoke the cigars, there was another cigar that was ditched. I think there was a rough couple of months for me. The ALR.
Oh, yeah, I
That's
remember
right.
that.
Whoa,
that you
whoa,
gave
whoa.
I
Rooster.
remember that.
Then the 4000 was ditched.
You actually
I'm like,
ditched
that's
an
it.
ALR?
No more contribution.
Rooster.
Oh boy.
Oh, he dumped that quick.
Rooster ditched the ALR, and I ditched the Padron
The 4000.
so you did smoke.
So that's why I said
Yeah,
I'm happy supplying the liquor.
I don't remember.
selective memory.
And so, going back to this one quick last time here, Paul ended our conversation. He said, sometimes you need to slow down in life and smell the petrichor.
That's awesome.
We need to put that on shirts.
We need to put that on a shirt.
Smell the petrichor.
Smell the petrichor. So yeah, again, listeners, please reach out. We love hearing from everybody. It's awesome.
Just can I make a quick side note on the Japanese whiskey?
Please.
Hibiki is made by Suntory,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
so they're all in the same family.
There are,
Interesting.
I think all
Yeah, this is-
Japanese whiskey is made by the same Suntory bean.
Suntory, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I think this is called the Hibiki Harmony, and there are a couple of different ones, and some are aged more.
So is Hibiki like a higher end? Like does Santori kind of view it like the Santori line is their entry? Is there like, or is it just that they are kind of a conglomerate that's bought up different Japanese whiskeys? Like, I'm curious how that structure is.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that.
How much did the Centauri cost?
The Santori, I think,
35 bucks, isn't it?
35.
So I guess from the point of view of cost, the
Yeah,
Hibiki
it's
would be
about-
a top shelf spirit.
I think the Suntory. I too had a wee dram of the Suntory when I got here today. I think I prefer the Suntory.
Really.
Oh, I'm
I
the
definitely
opposite.
prefer the
Yeah,
Hibiki.
this
Yeah,
is
me
much
too.
better.
I can
Totally
drink.
Hibiki, yeah.
Honestly, I can drink the Hibiki all night long. I can finish that bottle, no problem.
We will, I think, tonight.
It is so good,
Bet.
so good. Bet?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm taking that down.
Yeah, no, I really enjoy it.
Tonight?
And so
Well, I'll take it with
We're
me
going
to the,
back to the clubhouse.
We
The
are.
thing that's crazy,
That's
though.
Clubhouse Scotch.
So, I mean, this Hibiki is meant to be one of the more refined in the Suntory line, but these Hibikis also have age statement bottles that this is not. So this
okay.
gets really crazy. They have a Hibiki 12, a Hibiki 17, a Hibiki 21, and a
Oh, boy.
Hibiki 30.
What's this one?
So if this
Wow.
is like
No
the
age
start
statement.
of that
12.
line, and this is
$90.
this is the 12.
probably the 12. Like
I didn't
it
see a
doesn't-
12
Yeah,
on
it didn't say any.
Where's our garçon?
But
Garçon.
if this is $90, I mean, imagine what some of these others are.
Yeah, I mean, how
Pricing
much
is
is the 30? It's got to be $500
Right.
bucks.
Oh my gosh.
500? No,
No,
at
it'd be like
thousands.
thousands.
Wow.
Can we-
5,000.
Can we do
bucks,
can we do a carry trade for the Hibiki? Just like
No, so these, I don't know, because of the limited supply or whatever the story is, the prices have been going up ridiculously.
Oh
Yeah,
boy,
for
I just found the price of the Hibiki 30. 5,000 is way modest.
What?
$10,000 per bottle.
Holy moly.
Wow.
I mean, what are they pricing it?
So in the city, this costs like between 130 and 140.
I think
Really?
one of you captains of industry in this room need to close a big deal and get us that bottle.
I wonder if it's.
I agree, Bam.
Right?
I wonder
I
if
agree.
it's. It can't do it.
I-
The yen has been pretty well correlated with the USD over the past few years, right? Because they're probably pricing this in yen.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
You know
Oh,
what I
okay,
mean?
yeah. I'm not quite sure. I just think it's got more to do with the supply. They're tough to get.
Yeah.
But for $10,000, I'd rather go to Japan, spend a week, have some sushi,
Absolutely.
hang out in the Ginza district, and come back.
Speaking, by the
Or
way,
not. Or die.
speaking of sushi, have you guys seen the documentary? It's my favorite documentary I've ever watched in my life, ever.
I know where you're going.
It's the greatest documentary I've ever seen. It's called, I think it's Hero, but it's spelled Jiro, Dreams of Sushi, and it's about this sushi chef who's, I believe, probably now in his 80s or close to 90, and he has a restaurant in a subway station in I believe it's Tokyo or Kyoto. I think it's Tokyo, and he has a restaurant. I think there's 8 seats in the restaurant, and when you sit down, you pay the fee. And you sit down, and whatever he puts in front of you is what you're getting.
Omakase.
It's and this guy is, I think, the only Michelin 3-star rated sushi chef ever.
Wow.
Like to the
Wow.
point where President Obama, when he went to Japan, had a sushi dinner in his restaurant in the subway station.
I wonder what that meal will cost.
I think it's only like $200 or $300,
Wow.
but it's impossible to get in.
That's amazing.
You know,
Yeah.
but
That's the thing.
the documentary, I recommend that to every listener out there. Hero Dreams of Sushi, Jiro Dreams of Sushi. It is so inspiring to watch someone focus so simply on fish and rice.
So
that's
that,
all
but,
he
but
does.
that's like, that speaks to, there's a Japanese word for like this pursuit of excellence within one thing where you just get really, really deep
Yep.
and perfect a trade or an
They
art.
talk about this.
I
on
forget
it.
what
They
it's
do.
called.
Me too.
And I think that documentary, I don't know if I've seen it. I may have seen it. Speaks to that.
It does. That's the whole
And
premise of it.
And I think, and it always reminds me, there's like a mystique around this. And I mentioned it just earlier in our conversations here. Like everything the Japanese do seems to be phenomenal. And, you know, cars, industry, everything they make, just fantastic. The way they manage their enterprise, the industrial.
It's precision and integrity.
Yeah, well, and just a lot of hard work and
Yeah.
fucking Lean Six Sigma. But aside from that, there's this, I don't know, there's just sex appeal to it. And almost so much so that, like, there's that guy and that character in Billions. You know who I'm talking about? The Billions character. Is it Billions?
Oh, that young girl.
No, that like his buddy. Like, who's the hedge fund guy in Billions? What's his name? Axelrod?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
who's the guy that works for him?
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. I know
the,
who you
the
mean.
young Asian guy.
No.
No, the guy who his
Max?
the second
Wait,
in
What's the second guy's name?
Wags.
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 So isn't Wags like obsessed with sushi and
I mean,
like the perfection of the
He's
craft?
obsessed with everything.
Wags is just obsessed with any expensive
Yeah.
meal. Like, remember the Ortolan episode? They're eating like with the napkins over their head. You know, the like fried bird. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a French delicacy.
It was like a
whole thing.
finale. It was
Yeah.
a finale of one
He's just
season.
obsessed with any expensive meal, which like some of the best sushi meals can get very, very pricey.
I just think that, for me, that documentary it's inspiring. It's interesting to watch someone focus on such simple things. It's all he thought about. He let his wife raise the kids. He only thought about fish and rice. His entire existence. It's all he's thought about.
I like what Bam said when you said precision and integrity, because I do kind of associate the Japanese culture with those two. And I've watched Jiro Dreams of Sushi, or however you pronounce it, Hero.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. I remember there's a point in there where sort of a cardinal sin, if you go to this restaurant, is to dip the sushi in soy sauce.
Yeah.
You do not want to do that. And the way like the guy has structured everything is if there's meant to be some form of soy sauce involved,
He puts it on.
he's put like the precise number of drops in the exact place it's supposed to be. I don't know if it's not supposed to touch the fish and it's supposed to be on the rice or whatever the case may be. And that's the way it's meant to be eaten. And that has like stuck with me where if I've done like omakase somewhere or I'm at like a Japanese restaurant and I'm like nervous to like take it and like dip it in soy sauce, I'm like, maybe they're very particular and that's the way it's intended to be eaten. And some places are very much like that.
That's
which
quite
I
the
respect.
experience. That's very, very cool.
Yeah, and it's I said this word several times already, but it's just inspiring.
Yeah.
If you're in business, if you are into a craft or a hobby, or there's something that that you're passionate about. Us with cigars, I mean,
Yeah.
it's there's something about craftsmanship and the pursuit of perfection and integrity and all those words you said, Bam, it just makes it special. And I would do anything to have a meal at that place.
I want to go there. Yeah.
I'm getting really motivated.
That's a good thing.
I can see that. I can see that. It's very, very good. All right, so
There's-
we're coming in the second. What's that?
Oh, I was just about to say, when's your next TED Talk?
Oh, yeah.
Next week on the pod. We're coming in the second half here, boys, of the Davidoff Millennium Pyramid.
Yeah. Note
And
on
it
the
is-
note on the construction.
The construction is great, man.
So the ash is very
Ash is just hanging on.
tapping. Oh,
Yep.
lost it.
So I give the
Fantastic.
cigar 2 Michelin stars.
Oh, like to hear that.
Do you
I
know
mean-
how Michelin started?
No.
Does anyone know this?
Something to do with a tire.
It's
Oh
the
yeah,
tire
the tire
company,
company. Yeah.
right?
Who told me? Did you tell me this?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, never mind. I think it may have been you. I'll stop there.
Yeah, there was a time the Michelin Man was considered one of the most recognizable, I guess.
Brand- yeah,
character.
character.
Brand characters.
I don't know. He seems to have disappeared.
Yeah,
It's a very coveted award.
it is.
I
Still
think,
is.
I think he went vegan.
So, what are you guys getting on the cigar in the second half here? I mean, it's just
Very consistent.
it's slowly developing. It's slowly
Yeah.
increasing, and just the touch and strength.
I will say though, here is where when they say it's a medium full cigar, I think now it's starting to get medium full.
Yeah,
so
agreed.
I'm with
I
them.
agree. Yeah, and it's pairing perfectly with the Scotch.
Yeah. I've had these for 15 years, and they have all been identical.
So I was going to ask you that. That's-
Identical.
So there's been no change.
It's ridiculous.
Really?
None. I would associate this with the Exclusivo and the 80th, how consistent they are, how beautifully made they are. It's really, it's just right up there.
It's perfection.
Yeah.
So when did Henke leave? A couple of years ago.
Yeah, 2-3 years ago.
So I
like
wonder.
3.
I wonder if we're on the cusp of maybe a slight
downgrade.
shift in.
I don't say that.
Yeah, but the blend is there, right? I mean, the blend is already predetermined. This is the blend for the Millennium
Yeah,
Pyramid.
but it changes, right, Rooster? Every year they're blending. It's not the same blend every year to get the same taste.
Honestly, I don't know.
Because
I
the
think
leaves
it's the
change,
same
the
blend.
seasons change.
But look at the Exclusiva, how consistent it is. That
No,
really.
I think we're conflating some things here. It's the same blend every year. The only thing that's a variable, right, is like the environmental factors that impacted that crop could make it taste or seem a little bit different, and they do things to try to make sure that it's as close to that original blend.
So
as
what do they
possible.
do?
I mean, I'm sure they adjust the ratios, right? So, like, if one of the crops is like more aggressive than it normally is, I'm sure that they have to tamp that down a bit and add more of something else to try to create more balance.
Isn't that
So-
by definition changing the blend?
sure?
if you
I
change
guess
the
that-
ratios
Try
in
to
a
keep
blend,
it
you're
as
changing
close
the
to
blend.
the
Look,
original blend as they
we
can.
can split hairs. I think
Sure.
the point I'm making is simply that the ingredients are the same,
But the
they
mas-
just might have to play with the ratios of
What's
the
But the
blend.
master
but the
blender is
master,
changing,
but the
and he-
craft of keeping this consistent through all these anomalies is what makes this and a lot of other cigars. That's why we love cigars, right? It's
Yeah.
the craft of it, the natural nature of it, and how it changes and how they control it.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
thing I'm worried about when a master blender changes is not as much the stuff that they already have that they're just trying to replicate. It's the new
It's
stuff.
the new stuff.
Right. So like the chef's edition is like a new blend every single time they come out with it. Will this master blender be able to produce as great of a chef's edition blend as they've been able to produce in the past under the last guy?
yep.
Those are more the things I worry about.
Yeah, and this is a standard production cigar, so you
Right.
have to think that their consistency is built into their system.
Plus, Davidoff, I think, has the most amount of bales of tobacco, aged tobacco that they're holding for each blend.
Yeah,
So they have a lot. They have a lot
Yeah.
in
Well,
stock.
they're like the business case definition of like vertical integration. They own the fields, they own the distribution, they own the pricing, they own everything. It's like an HBR business case. They own everything. So when you own that type of supply chain, you have a lot of control over it. It comes with a cost. That's probably why our cigar prices in Davidoff are so expensive. But there's so much flexibility. You can manage inventories of tobacco as much as they do, I'm sure. And land in Dominican Republic is kind of cheap, you know.
I'd love to see the margins on Davidoff's
Oh, yeah.
business.
Oh yeah,
It's gotta
I
be
mean,
amazing. Oh my gosh.
just think about that. Like what the cost for them is so minimal.
Getting back to what Senator said, it'd be great to know that. Would love to know that.
Yeah, but you got to factor in everything. It's
Yeah.
not just the
Marketing.
cost of, it's
Yeah, they spend a
it's-
lot on marketing.
Yeah,
Distribution.
Absolutely.
it's a huge amount.
That's the biggest line item I'm sure on their income statement is,
It's like when you buy
selling costs.
when you buy a bottle of like a fragrance, right? Like a perfume, a cologne. I mean, it literally costs cents.
Yep.
15 cents, 20 cents, less than $1 to get that bottle. But a lot of the money is the packaging costs sometimes more than what's in it.
Right.
And then the marketing and all of that goes, factors in.
Oh yeah.
And then by the time you're done it, the bottle is going for like $100, $150.
Oh yeah.
Everything in luxury retail. I've worked a lot with luxury retail and fragrance companies, and the whole mystique around it. It's similar to the whole mystique around cigars. You look at premium luxury brands. Some of them, if you're looking at companies like Chanel that are making custom-made purses out of France and Italy, yeah, they're going to have high costs. They're going to charge costs, and they might get 60% margin still. But then you look at other companies that are selling fragrance out of there's one or two companies that basically control the entire fragrance market. International flavors and fragrances. I think IFF is like the biggest, the biggest manufacturer of fragrances in the world. I don't think that you have a comparable case for Davidoff because Davidoff is so unique and niche.
Exactly right. Yeah. And the brand, the history of the brand.
I will say to your point on viewing cigars as a luxury product, Habanos has certainly heard that and
reacting
reacting
accordingly.
appropriately. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now,
With the cigar
Cohiba and
prices.
Trinidad are classified as a luxury good.
Oh boy.
And all the other prices just went up. I just saw 50 Cab Arras today on one of our favorite retailers. Just went up from I bought it last week for $500. It was just $582.
Oof.
Wow.
So in a week, it's gone up. Over 10%.
That's a big increase.
Big increase. And the other thing I wanted to say for the listener out there, there is a wonderful, I think it's 40 minutes or an hour on YouTube. There's actually kind of a documentary. Filmmaker went in and kind of went through Davidoff's process from seed to the roll. It's a really interesting documentary you can find on YouTube for free about the Davidoff process. So
Cool.
if you want to do a deep dive, YouTube it.
Cool.
What were we going to say, Senator? I interrupted you.
I was just going to shout out Gizmo for a second. So speaking of just our appreciation for fine things, we've in the past given Gizmo some shit for having a
Primitive palate.
primitive palate, as another lizard coined a long time ago.
I'm in the room. You can call. You
Let's not be kind. Let's not be
A
kind.
term Grinder coined a long time ago for
Term.
Gizmo's palate. And to Gizmo's credit, he has not only boarded the tequila train with Pooba and I, but now he's like inching his way up to almost become the conductor of this train.
Connoisseur status.
And apparently he was at a restaurant recently.
Oh, I'm very proud of this. Thank you,
and
Senator.
you should tell this story. I was
Yeah.
very impressed.
So I went to a Ruth Chris steakhouse for a Mother's Day dinner with my mom and my parents and my brother and his significant other and Mrs. Gizmo. And we were all there and we ordered drinks and everything. And I ordered a Don Julio Añejo. And drinks come out, everybody passes around. And I take a sip and I look at my dad and I'm like, there's something up here. I'm like thinking maybe my brother ordered like Knob Creek or Woodford or something, a bourbon. So I look at him and I'm like, does yours taste right? Because maybe they switched our drinks. His looked a little lighter than mine. And not that Don Julio Añejo is clear. It's not. It has an amber to it. But I was like, this isn't right. So I tasted it. I looked at it. I'm like, there's something off here. And my brother said, no, this is right. I tasted his. It was correct. It was definitely bourbon. And it was tequila. I was like, this is not Don Julio Añejo. So the server comes back and I very kindly, I was not harsh, but I said to him, I said, listen, man.
That's good.
We need to get his side of the story.
I'm calling Mrs. Gizmo.
Anytime a story has a segue to
I was.
Listen, man. You know, it's I'm kind of
No,
dubious.
it was kind. I was like, hey man, I think I was like, I think the bartender either poured something incorrectly or, it's Mother's Day weekend. Maybe you grabbed the wrong drink. Something happened here. This isn't right. And I said, did you put Don Julio Añejo in? Did you accidentally hit something else? And oh, no. I put in Don Julio Añejo and that's what they poured. 100,000% guaranteed. I said, listen, ma'am, I've been drinking a lot of this stuff. So now I'm starting to get a little irritated because he's arguing with me. And I said,
No.
Listen, man.
listen, man. And I said, it's not right. He said, well, do you want me to go get you another one? I said, yeah, if you don't mind, I Don Julio Añejo. That's what I want. So he goes back to the bar and he comes back out and I can see on his face, like hat in hand, man. He goes, you know what? You were right.
Look at you.
The bartender decided, because they were out of Don Julio Añejo, to just pour me Patron and didn't say anything. And we're going to bill me for Don Julio Añejo. And I was like, I was shocked by
That's
it.
a problem.
I was shocked, but like, how do you not come back out and say, hey, we gave you, here's like, before you put it in front of me, tell me what you're giving me and let's make some corrections here. They were completely out in the entire casino, had no Don Julio Añejo in the whole place.
Unacceptable.
And I was very proud of myself that I picked out.
We're all proud of
It was
you.
not Don Julio Añejo.
It's
We
officially no longer primitive, but refined.
Oh.
Here's a question. I got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Would it be inappropriate to ask them to bring the bottle to do the pour in front of you?
I think that'd be great in restaurants.
I mean,
I think it'd be great. I think I would
logistically, that's a fucking nightmare.
I would feel bad about it.
That's true. That's
I would
true.
feel bad about it on Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah.
If it like the place was slammed.
Hey, Garcon, bring me the bottle, please.
Yeah. Like I would normally do that. I actually said to him, I said, I'll go to the bar. I'm glad to deal with this. I know you're slammed. Like it's all good. But thankfully they admitted it and
That's cool.
Was it the Patron Silver?
it wasn't silver. I think it was an anejo or something
Yeah, they
because
make
it was
it an
amber.
They have an anejo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amber. It was
right,
not
that's
good.
something.
It was not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I went to McAllen because they didn't have anything else.
There you go. Beautiful.
But
yeah,
they
I was
should
very proud
tell
of
you
myself.
if they're out of it, they should tell you, well, sir, we're out of it. Would you like to try something else before making that decision for you, especially at like a restaurant or establishment like Roots?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's going to be a $30 glass of tequila probably.
Totally. And it's just sad because most places just count on the consumer being stupid. And when you're dealing with a lizard who drinks as much Don Julio Añejo as Gizmo does, he knows the
I
difference.
resent the implications.
That's awesome.
Well, Gizmo, all I can say is if Senator was there, the whole meal would be comped.
everything would be comped.
Oh,
It
that's
would have been
true.
comped.
That's true.
All right?
That's true.
That whole meal would have been comped.
You made me drink Patron.
How dare you? Do you know who I am? I'm going to take you down.
I'm not sure if Bam Bam walks.
a Yelp review.
Who said? Wait a minute. Who said that?
I'm
Bam-
going to talk about you on the Lounge Lizards podcast.
Yes, sir. I have heard of that. Please don't do that.
Well, I was very proud of myself. So,
that was rough.
so
that's a
thank you,
wrap.
Senator,
That's
for
fantastic. It's fantastic.
Very proud of you as well.
Thank you,
Yeah.
guys. I knew you'd be proud.
Disappointed the staff would make that attempt to kind
Yeah,
of.
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And that goes to listen, trust your gut. I
Yeah.
mean, I was very close to not saying a thing.
A lot of people are shy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you're paying a premium for something, you got to get what you're ordering. By the way, I'm finding it difficult to find the Don Julio, the Magnums that we've been buying, the 1.75s. I can't find them anywhere.
That's true.
I wonder why.
You finished them
Yeah.
all.
You
I
bought 'em
wonder
out.
who's been buying so many of them.
I've been buying a lot.
What is? I'm curious to like, what kind of transformation your home has undergone over the past
It's
6
crazy.
months?
It's crazy.
Because like, there's a little corner, a little nook I'm aware of in your home where you have massive amounts of cigars.
Yeah.
Where do you keep the liquor?
I hide that. I have a whole thing in the garage.
In the
like a
garage, that's
cabinet.
right.
Yeah, a cabinet in the garage. I hide it, everything.
So like 6-7 cases of various liquors.
I have a lot of stuff in there. I probably have, not 6-7 cases. I probably have like 30 bottles of stuff. 20, 30.
And he just
These
leaves
are
out
full bottles too.
Oh, yeah. Not opened.
he just leaves out all the stuff he used to drink before he met the lizards for the kids.
Yep,
I was-
exactly.
as a Costco consumer, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I do buy a lot of stuff.
Have you seen the club soda collection at this guy's house?
It's in my trunk.
It's ridiculous.
It's insane.
It's everywhere.
And lemons,
In his locker, in his trunk.
lemon juice.
lemon juice.
Yeah, I mean,
I have a laundry basket in my trunk just full of club soda seltzer. It's fantastic. I
What?
drink a lot of it, man.
dude, when are you gonna get your own? Can't you make your own?
I could do that soda stream thing, but I just don't feel like doing
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, whatever.
Fuck that.
One brief side note.
Environment.
So
Yeah.
I refilled my cup without ice. It
Yeah.
is really, really delicious.
Actually, if you pass that around, I think I'm going to do the same thing because I was just going to
that's a
ask
good
if you.
idea.
That's a Gizmo pour there, Bam Bam. By the way,
He said he's finishing the bottle.
I'm shocked how much I love this scotch. It's fantastic.
So
you got it.
two
You got it.
fingers.
Two fingers.
2 fingers.
Neat.
Those are 2 Bam Bam fingers.
I mean, the Hibiki for me is a revelation. You know,
absolutely.
we've said that a lot, but it is really, really good. I do like it better than the Centauri. I wish it was a little cheaper. I wish it wasn't 90 and hard to find, but so be it. I think it's really delicious.
So just FYI, I've been buying it for 80 for a very, very long time. It's just that suddenly it shot up to 90.
Wow.
And in the city, it runs around 130, 140.
No, that's not good. It's so easy to drink without ice. It's really, really good. Wow.
But I have to say,
You okay? You okay, Pagodes?
No, I'm good. I think I stretched a bit too
You
much.
look like you're having a fucking heart attack, bro.
It's like, I think I need a banana. I'm cramping out here.
If the listener can't picture the room, you've got half the room of young guys, bucks, and half the room of the senior, I'm going to call us stately.
Statesman.
Well,
I'm a stately gentleman.
I'm on the underside of 50,
You're
so
such
please.
a distinguished gentleman.
look, everybody checks their wheelchair before they come into my lounge, so we're all the same age.
I
once we
souped
sit
up my
down.
wheelchair this morning.
Bam, you are right. That is really great.
Isn't
meat.
it? Isn't it fantastic?
It's really nice.
It's fantastic.
I was just going to say, I'm really glad that Pagoda has talked up Hibiki. And I say this because there's been so much hype the last 5 years about Japanese whiskey. And it's just not something I've ever really gotten into. It's not something I know a whole lot about. Obviously, I've taken a deep dive into Scotch and some other spirits and wines, but I'm really glad that we're trying this because I would buy this. I would drink this again. I was just saying before we hit record, the Suntory on a hot summer day, I would definitely have that in an afternoon. There's really a place for these Japanese whiskeys.
I totally agree.
It's in the like lighter swim lane, I would say. They don't do much charring of the barrels, I believe. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. They don't do much charring, so you don't get a lot of smoky. Like you're never gonna get it.
I think that's
someone's
what-
gonna prove me wrong here, but
That's what makes it so easy
you're never
to drink.
gonna
I think.
you're never gonna get an equivalent Lagavulin out of Japan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is fine.
You're never gonna get it
yeah.
anywhere. Frankly, they don't have
Exactly. Yeah, I'm
But-
not complaining about that at all. I just I love that there's such a unique character to this
Yeah.
that has a place to slot in my
And
rotation.
the other thing that's fascinating is that they've tried to replicate the Scotch, and I don't mean that with capital S, like this Scottish way of making whiskey, almost to like the rule book, but it tastes very, very different. So they traveled to Scotland traveled to Japan, and they shared their secrets and did their whole thing, right? And they have these whiskeys that are Scotch style, but it is very different, and that's the fascinating thing to me.
Well, it's the same thing. Why can you take a Cuban seed out of Cuba, plant it anywhere else,
Yeah.
and it's completely different? Even
Yeah.
the same people who were planting, growing, harvesting, rolling the cigars in Cuba took the seeds and grew them in Dominican Republic and Nicaragua and Ecuador and Mexico.
It's the
And
soil.
It's the soil. It's
And
the
the hands,
climate.
the
It's the
hands.
moisture.
Yeah.
It's
One word.
It's everything.
It's the terroir.
Wow.
Yeah. He's right.
True
Exactly.
in everything. When we're
Exactly.
talking about cigars, wine, spirits, all of it.
Absolutely.
We are purveyors of terroir. What is it? What's that word?
Terroir.
Yeah, you got it right.
There you go.
And what's that mean?
Not only is the
Land.
palate graduated,
The
vocabulary is off the charts.
and the diction.
Isn't it? It's just landscape.
Wait till we
It's,
do.
territory.
Yeah.
Wait till we do pour
Loose
Laranaga.
It's not territory, terrain.
Terrain.
Yes.
Wait till we do pour
You're right,
Laranaga.
landscape.
Yeah.
Struggle on that word.
Agreed.
Holy moly.
I like what Senator said about these two particular scotches having a
Yeah,
place
I agree
in
with
time.
him. Yeah.
I'm already starting to think about the cigars I would have with each scotch earlier in the day and later in the day, early evening.
To your point, I'm thinking because I've been so obsessed with them, the Upman 2 with this Hibiki.
Oh, dude,
Oh
that is
my
a
gosh.
home run.
The Upman too. There's something there's something in that Upman sweetness in that cigar that I think with this
Yeah.
specific whiskey would be an A+.
We
Right
should
on-
do an Upman too. I've
Bro,
never done
we're gonna
an
do
Upman
it.
too.
Right on
I've
the
never-
money.
I've
You
never
know,
smoked
another
That's
one
that's
is
a Puba favorite, so we're gonna when Puba's here, we're gonna do that.
It's
at
a great
some point in the
call out.
future.
It's great.
Another one is the E2 because the guy who recommended Hibiki with the cigar. So I've had Hibiki before a few times, but I was in Montreal and I went to Casa de Habana.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting a Portuguese E2, and he recommended the Hibiki with it, and it was a great pairing as well.
That's a
at
great
that point
call
in
out,
time.
too.
And I haven't tried it since then, but
Yep.
I think now that I have a couple of boxes of those, I think
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna definitely
Yep.
indulge.
And I'm thinking of Cubans with the other Japanese Scotch here, Punch
Japanese
Punch
whiskey. It's not
Whiskey. I'm
Scotch.
And
sorry.
you're talking
yes.
about Santori.
Centauri. Yes.
yeah.
The Punch would be fabulous.
Yep.
Just,
Coronas,
Agree.
just after lunch.
QD
Wow.
Coronas Claros. We just did that on the
dude.
pod.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be great with that.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. You talk about, we're joking about refining palates or all these different things, but the benefit of the pod for me and us inside the room is that the eye-opening experience that I've had in trying these things that, not that I'm forced to try them, but we're trying to get into different things and find different pairings and different, spirits. I mean, what a revelation so many of these things have been.
Can I just project that in 2 months we're going to do a pod and Gizmo's going to say, why are there no more handles of Suntory and Hibiki left in the liquor stores? It's so hard to find.
It is fast. It is not fascinating. It's very fun and fulfilling to do this podcast, talk about spirits and cigars and others, other spirits aside from whiskey, and have people respond because they're into it as well. Because we're here, a bunch of jokers, just fucking smoking our faces off, drinking a bunch of whiskey all the time, thinking like, oh, this is great, this is awesome. And to have other people around the world, hey, we're kind of like you, and we love doing the same stuff. And we got that flavor profile from this cigar. You should try this. It's so fun. Like, there are other people that are as enthusiastic about the shit that we love so much, and to share that, it's pretty awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's what we've said this many times. I mean, that's what this is all about. It's about sharing, and there's nothing more gratifying. I think I probably speak for everyone in this room. When you give someone something or you recommend something and they appreciate it as much as you do, there's nothing better than that.
Yeah.
Like it's like great that there are certain things that I enjoy, but when I say to someone, hey, you should try that, and they fall in love with it just the same way I did, that's so much more exciting.
Right.
Yeah. Like when we had,
So
I
gratifying.
think Gizmo read, we had a listener who said he was off for the weekend with his wife with Paul
Oh, yeah.
Roger
And
Max.
caviar.
and the Herfador. And I mean, I just see that and I'm like, that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And,
There's- there's-
and
There's
what
a
Max,
level of pride there. It's very
Yeah.
cool.
and what Max, the listener from Australia, bringing his wife into it with the Paul Roger. I did the same thing with my wife, and she loves that champagne now.
That's so cool.
And it's a product of
fantastic.
getting together and doing this. And the one thing that I have two comments I want to say. Number one, the listener that we discussed earlier, Paul, mentioned something about community and how it's nice to have community to listen to. We're very fortunate that we get to sit in this room and we have 7 guys that are like-minded in the same geographical area. I mean, there's a lot of folks. If I lived where I used to live in Northeast PA, I don't know if I would have found this because there aren't clubhouses like we have. So
No.
As a Scranton guy, I can tell you for a fact
Yeah,
that's not available.
they're not there. So
you might get it at a country club, and they're smoking Romeo and Juliet Dominican
Exactly.
Republic.
Oh, boy.
exactly.
But that's it.
Yeah, so it's just nice to have that, and it's nice to hear that, like Senator said, from listeners. And really, I think the summary point that I have is a quote that Rooster always says, and he says it to us, and that cigars are meant to be shared. And there's nothing better than when you're smoking a great cigar, and you've given that same cigar you're smoking out of, the same box you're smoking out of, to someone that you're sitting next to, or in this case that you're sharing an experience with on a podcast. It makes the cigar 10 times better.
Yeah, there's a feeling of hospitality and being hospitable and handing over one of your favorite cigars to someone and they're enjoying it. It feels fantastic.
Absolutely.
It's wonderful.
Well, that goes back to why people give cigars when they have a birth. They're just like, let me share.
That's right.
So when's that going to happen?
And by the way,
I don't know. It's got to happen soon.
Getting back,
The cigars I was
told
going
me
to
that you-
share are they don't make them anymore.
You
Yeah,
told me that you
702.
had procured what you were going to give everyone.
oh boy,
No, I didn't.
you should have pre-purchased.
Wait,
I
does
thought I
does it
did.
begin with the letter P?
And then I got a notification that these are out of stock and they no longer fucking make them.
Rooster thinks he figured it out.
Does it begin with the letter P?
Does it rhyme with
Encia.
Valencia.
Valencia.
Does it begin with P and
Does it
end with
remind you of Spain?
Lencia? Licencia.
Oh gosh.
Is the Vitola the Alma Fuerte?
Whoa.
That's not a Vitola.
That's the line of the cigar?
It's a line.
Yeah, that's a one. That's a marca.
No, it was actually a 702 in Robusto, Davidoff 702, one of my favorite cigars, which they don't make anymore apparently.
They don't really.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah.
Wow.
So
It's a great stick.
It is a good stick.
that whole scenario sucked. But the other cigar I was going to share with the guys was actually the 50th,
The Patron.
the Padron 50th Family Reserve in natural.
I'll take it.
Great cigar.
Very good cigar.
All right, boys. You guys ready to do the formal liquor rating on the Hibiki?
Absolutely.
Let's make it formal.
This is fantastic. Bam Bam, you're up.
Let me clear my throat.
He's
is
killing my throat.
For Bam Bam, this is a 10.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Excellent.
That is
First 10 ever. And I'll go into it after
Okay.
the rest of you vote.
Pagoda.
Yeah, I think it's a 10.
wow.
Senator.
I'm not getting
I'm going to
10.
give it a 9.
I'm not getting 10 vibes from this.
I'm a 9 all day. I'm a high 9 if I could, but I'm not a 10. I'm a 9.
Still an elite score.
I mean, 7.5. 8.
What?
What's your number?
I'll give it an 8.
8.
Sorry, I'm bringing down the
That's
mean.
Hey,
Not at
you know
all.
what though? That's a perfect score. The Composite Lizard score, boys, is a 9.2.
That is incredible.
That's awesome.
That's
Great
incredible.
score. That's a great score. I think a 92. I think a 92 for this is perfect.
Yeah, there aren't many scotches for me personally that I can drink without a piece of ice in it. It's got a little bit of sweetness. There's a complexity. It's got legs, like you mentioned earlier, Senator. It's really it's just a fantastic spirit.
We
really
like
good.
we like legs.
Oh yeah,
I
more ways than one.
I agree with Bam, and the reason I say that, I mean, this is a blend. This is, to me, easily the best blended whiskey I've had. Period.
No doubt.
Blended.
Well, we're going to try Black Label soon, but
Oh, Jesus! Please,
With a
please
But-
stop.
With a
sploosh.
but in the meantime,
Please stop.
I can't.
I mean that seriously because I think, obviously, right, like what happens with blends, like they tend to be smoother, right? Because they can blend out those kind of anything that's too aggressive or those imperfections and all of that. But they usually don't have enough character about them that excites me. And why I say that I would call this like kind of the Macallan of Japanese whiskeys, which is all on the lighter end of the spectrum. It has enough that brings you back wanting more in a way that most blends, they just drink well enough, but I never crave more. And with this, I want more. It's
different.
really satisfying.
There is a difference there where you want more. Yeah, great, very well said. Love it.
I just rated it a 10 because I knew Grinder would rate it low. So
He hedged.
So Grinder, we have to hear why.
Don't go
why,
there.
Why a 7 or an 8?
Yeah.
It was an 8, but he was thinking 7.
He was. He was right in the middle.
7's not a bad score.
Take another sip. You don't know what you're talking about.
So I have a lot of respect for this.
Are you drinking from the right glass? You have 2 glasses.
Yeah, the bottom one was.
I'm just
I
making
just poured
sure.
it.
Just making sure.
This is also neat. And I will say the taste, as you would expect, is different with not ice in it. I don't know. I think I have like a sweet spot, and it's not this.
I get it.
I have like sherry.
You're
I
looking
have
for Pete, or what do you?
I
look
have
for?
sherry and peat. And when I drink a scotch, I love that. Not that this isn't fantastic. I think the aftertaste of this for me was just a little wonky.
The finish.
The finish.
Interesting.
rather.
Yeah, no.
I'm finding the finish to be very delightful.
It's pleasant.
Yeah.
So it goes sweet and then it goes bitter for me.
It goes salty,
wow.
a little saltyish. I don't know,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
coats my mouth.
So I do get a little saltiness in the coating. That's what makes it so pleasurable
Yeah,
for me.
I would just say for me, I think the finish is really refined and elegant,
It really is.
like truly refined. Like it tastes like a premium spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of
my mouth is a little tingly, and I don't know what that is.
I love it.
from the point
I
of
don't
view
like
of
it.
from the point of view of experience. They're like a beautiful, very dry white. When it goes in sweet and it finishes clean and crisp at the end, it's kind of similar to that. It's not the same type of alcohol, of course,
Sure.
but just physically that taking it in and how it changes as you take it down and at the finish. That's what this is like for me.
Yeah. I really love it.
Yeah.
All right, boys, we're coming to the end of the Davidoff Millennium Pyramid. Certainly in our last third. I'm coming up on about an inch left. You guys ready to give it the formal lizard rating? All right, Rooster, you're up.
So I'm going to give it a 9. Very, very,
Wow.
very satisfying
Yeah.
smoke.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Grinder.
The millennial in Pyramid is getting a 9.
Excellent. I'm
Wow.
also a 9 all day. I think it's very satisfying, like Rooster said. And to me, as you know, this is going to be my last cigar of the night tonight. I'm going to go home very, very satisfied.
Wow. Wow.
It's not going to be his last cigar of the night, but I
No.
will.
It is actually very rarely, but it is. It is tonight.
But I'm also completely in lockstep with you guys. 9.
It's a 9. It's a 9. It's a 9.
Wow.
Bam Bam, you're up. What's the number?
I'm at a 9.
All right.
Wow,
That's-
really.
I don't need to
difficult.
divide
Yeah.
that out, boys. Composite Lizard score is a flat 9.
That is ridiculous.
Great score.
Damn.
Is that the high?
No, it's not the
No,
highest.
no.
What's the highest?
But the most, honestly, the
ton of
most
others.
consistent
10.
score. The most consistent score.
What's the highest rated?
Probably the Shark.
Yeah.
Probably the Shark. I'd have to go back. A listener could tell us. Some of the listeners know more than I do
I
about.
think that was a 9.7, and the chef's edition was 9.4.
I think
remember
you're
Yeah.
right.
And even the
I think you're right.
exclusive was very high.
Yeah,
Exclusive
that
one.
was a
Oh.
9 something.
That
There,
was a
there are a
9,
number of cigars higher
9.4,
than
I
this,
think,
but
yeah.
this is an outstanding cigar.
Yeah. This actually does belong one rung, as far as I'm concerned, below the Exclusivo. I've always said that.
Which the composite score does reflect.
Yeah, it's
The
Yeah.
Exclusivo
very,
got higher.
it's very fucking
Absolutely.
accurate. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
This
I
is-
slate that and the 80th above this,
This is
all
the
day long.
best, but
Also, if you take in consideration the price point
Yes.
with
Yeah.
an exclusivo, and this exclusivo is like half the price.
It's
Right.
$17, 14 to $17.
14 bucks.
14.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
So-
insane.
So that kind of satisfaction out of a $14 steak.
It's incredible. Yep.
Yeah, I just I'm continually blown away by these, and Bam, I thank you because you turned me on to them. Certainly, I don't reach for them terribly often for that
Right.
reason we just discussed, price and reaching for an exclusivo or cigar like that at the end of
Right.
the night.
Very
But,
high praise.
yeah,
Very
I mean,
high praise.
I do really love this cigar.
Because I have a comment to make. One of the cigars that we need to try in one of our future episodes
Yeah.
is the Adobe Lancero.
Yes, we got to do it.
The Lancero.
Yeah, we got to do it.
Lot
I've
of-
heard
lot of people
so
are
much
raving
about it.
about
So-
the Lancero.
Grinder and I
And,
have had some experiences with that.
No, I know, but
anime.
you haven't had the Lancero. That's what I've heard. Like
That's
the
true.
Lancero
The
is
Vitola is
like
important.
the best
Just like
Vitola.
just like this cigar. If you had this cigar in Toro
Oh, yeah.
versus the cigar we're having
yeah.
tonight, the Vitola does matter. So
Yeah.
So we should give it a shot. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a
Size
agree.
matters, guys.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. All right, boys. A flat 9 for the Davidoff Millennium Pyramid. Great cigar. Great cigar, Bam. Very nice. And thanks, guys. We'll see you next week. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave us a rating and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. If you have any comments, questions, if you want to reach out, say hello, tell us what you're smoking, email us, loungelizardspod, P-O-D, that's loungelizardspod@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram @loungelizardspod. We really appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week.